Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Family Focus event, specifically about HMC's Study Abroad program. I thank you for attending today's event. My name is Erin McNabb. I'm the Director in the Office of Alumni and Parent Relations and proud member of the class of 2006. This talk is being recorded and will be shared on the Family Focus website in the next week. Please feel free to type any questions you have into the Q&A box, and we'll try to get through as many as we can after the presentation. If we have any links to share, I'll put those in the chat box for you to use as a reference. So to quickly introduce this topic, studying abroad allows our students to continue their education while absorbing the rich culture of another country. So while attending a semester-long program, students have the opportunity to explore cultural, social, and financial differences in ways a classroom experience would rarely touch. By participating in study abroad, Harvey-Mudd students are encouraged to see the world as their campus and gain a borderless education. So I will now hand it over to my colleague, Sarah Repetto, to introduce herself and talk more about study abroad. Take it away.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm going to talk briefly about study abroad at Harvey-Mudd College. My name is Sarah Repetto, and I'm the Assistant Dean for Study Abroad. So I'm going to share my screen. Looks good? Great. So at Harvey-Mudd, there are many, many options to study abroad, and every major can study abroad. I will repeat that several times. Every major can study abroad, every student can study abroad, and we have a model that will support that. So I will go over those details in the following presentation. It's really a wonderful, incredible opportunity to be able to step outside the classroom, take some time and invest in yourself and your future, and spend some time away in another country. And there are many reasons why students might want to do this. They might be academic, they might be personal, they might be professional. But students will have the opportunity to work on all three areas while they're abroad. Of course, we have wonderful academic partnerships, and there's an opportunity to gain new perspectives, spark intellectual curiosity, take STEM courses that are not available at Harvey-Mudd. For example, we have students go take biomedical engineering courses in other countries or take other tech electives that are not available at Mudd, that will give them insight into other ways that their field could be perceived, other ways they could consider maybe graduate school abroad, or they could consider a different type of profession than maybe they were originally considering. There's also many personal gains that students will receive when they study abroad. They will be able to develop independence, increase their self-confidence, and of course, gain new perspectives. There's going to be so many personal gains that I always encourage students to make sure these all end up on your resume when you come back, because students need to think about the soft skills that employers want to see when they're hiring for these positions. They want to see adaptability, curiosity, ability to communicate with people different than you, intercultural communication skills. So studying abroad is going to give students that additional advantage because they're going to have specific stories to back up all of those soft skills. And so if they're asked in a job interview, give me an example of a time when you practice intercultural communication skills. Students will have a story, an anecdote to back that up from their experience abroad. And I've heard many, many personal anecdotes of students who have been in job interviews and study abroad has come up. And sometimes it can be that just additional edge that students can use to show their worldliness, show their knowledge, show their willingness to step outside of Harvey-Mudd and take some risks and learn a lot about themselves, about their field, and about how STEM fits into a larger picture in their career, in their future career. So of course, professional gains as well. It will help them stand out to future employers and practice critical thinking and problem solving skills that are critical to any type of profession that they will walk into. Program eligibility. There is a 2.5 minimum GPA requirement to apply to study abroad at Harvey Mudd. Some programs do require a minimum 3.0 to 3.8 GPA, but those are very much the minority. Most programs have a 2.5 GPA requirement. Many of our programs do not have a foreign language requirement. Many of our programs are completely taught in English, and they will not need to know a foreign language before they go. Of course, we do, if they have a specific specialization or they have prior knowledge of a language, and they want to work on that language skill, we also offer those programs as well. If they specifically want to gain knowledge of Mandarin, Spanish, Japanese, there are many, many programs that will offer them that opportunity, but we also have many options where there are no language requirements. Junior year is really the best time to go. Advanced course planning is important for all majors, but I just want to stress that all majors can do this. And I do recommend that students start planning as a freshman. Think about where they want to go, what they want to do, even though they've not chosen a major yet or declared, they can definitely still start to consider what their options are. Then once they choose a major, they need to be prepared to meet with their advisor, discuss going abroad and what courses they would earn credit for. And then we would guarantee transferability before they went. So they would stay on track to graduate while they are away. So transfer credit, students will graduate in 4 years. When they go abroad, they will be able to stay on track. And they do this because they will meet with everyone relevant to this topic at Mudd. They will meet with me, they will meet with their major advisor, their HSA advisor, and then this will ultimately result in a graduation check by the Office of the Registrar, which will ensure that this student is on track to graduate. These courses will be transferred back when they return upon successful completion of courses, of course, when they return, and that they will stay on track to graduate with those courses. Here's an example of where we had Mudders in spring of 2024. We had students in Scotland, Ireland, the Netherlands, Hungary, Spain. We had students in Korea, Japan, Australia, and New Zealand. This current semester, we have students in Cape Town studying engineering. We have students in some other opportunities. We also have programs in South America. There are many, many opportunities across the globe available to students. Harvey Mudd is on a homeschool tuition model, just like all the other Claremont College campuses. This is a model that is designed with equity in mind because financial aid will travel with you, and it means that every student can study abroad. HMC tuition, room and board on a 12-meal plan is charged to the student while they are away. And that means that we will pay on the student's behalf academic program tuition and fees, reasonable housing, a meal stipend, round trip transportation to the program destination, so airfare, round trip, and a local transportation stipend to and from the housing and the school site. So this comprehensive fee will cover all of these costs, and it really means that the student can focus on the academics when they're choosing their program. They do not need to worry about cost of living in that country to the extent that they will say, well, London is such an expensive city. Meals and housing are going to be really cost prohibitive to me. So I should be looking at programs somewhere else. We will be paying housing. We will be paying a meal stipend. This will be according to the program sponsor's website. So if the program says we recommend the student has this much in meals for the entire semester that they're away, then we will provide them a stipend for those meals while they are away. And so they can focus on where they want to go. They can focus on if they really want to go to Oxford, if they really want to go to a school in the United Kingdom, if they really want to go to Japan, Australia, New Zealand, Cape Town, they can focus on what they want to study and where they want to study, and then their tuition will travel with them, and their financial aid package will travel with them. And that's why we have this model with equity in mind. Of course, there are some fees that are not included. There are scholarships available for out-of-pocket expenses, and I can go over that with the students when they meet with me. Sometimes there is a non-refundable provider application fee. This is not that common. Passport fees are not included. Visa fees are not included. Immunizations, if the program is requiring them or strongly recommending them. If there are optional class trips or program field trips, those would not be included in the homeschool tuition model. Personal travel, of course, gym membership fees, internet, computer, and printing costs and phone fees are not included. Some programs do include class trips and program field trips. So students will often, and parents will be like, well, what about, I think there's not like a full understanding that some of these study abroad programs include opportunities and include travel components that are a requirement of the academic components of the course. And if that's the case, then they are covered by the homeschool tuition model. So it really depends on what the student wants and what their goals are for studying abroad and what the details of the program are. But we have many different approved program options on our website. We only work with study abroad program providers currently. This is our current study abroad model. And I just want to clarify that when you use a study abroad program provider, what that means. It means that the student is going to receive in-country staff support, 24/7 emergency support while they're there, support with getting the visa that's required. There'll be an orientation to the country and a university orientation. Some of these universities are a little bit complicated to navigate. And the study abroad program provider will provide them with a thorough orientation as to what they need to do, where they need to go, how to navigate the university structure that they may not be accustomed to. Accommodations are included. So meaning the student is not having to go off on their own to find housing. All of these programs will provide accommodation, safe, affordable accommodation, that they have been researching a good, safe neighborhood, and they're making sure that it's in the most desirable location possible, related to the university or related to the program center. There will also be academic support with university coursework. So if a student is struggling, there are sometimes required check-ins, not required, but strongly encouraged check-ins, like how's everything going? How are your university courses? Do you have any questions? Do you need any support with this? There's also coordinated enrollment at the local university. So these program providers are helping to matriculate the students directly at the local university. Sometimes they're teaching courses at their site center. They have brick and mortar locations in these countries where staff are located, but they also often teach classes out of these site centers. They could be language courses, they could be humanities courses. Sometimes they could be tech or STEM courses, but typically they're language or humanities courses. And then students are going there to also take a course. They also will provide excursions and cultural activities. There might even be volunteer opportunities in host communities. I was meeting with the IES Abroad Granada director, and there's an opportunity for a wonderful volunteer program in Morocco that they take all the students to, for example. Some of these programs also offer internship opportunities, which is another fantastic way for a student to put something really concrete on their resume. Not only were they studying abroad, they also worked part-time as an intern at this tech company. They can be in STEM, they can also be in other fields, but putting that international work experience on a resume is also, of course, just another opportunity to diversify what the student is able to show when they're in job interviews. So essentially how it would work is I would encourage students to come to an info session as a freshman, and then meet with me. Come and have an appointment with me as a dean for study abroad, come prepared with questions and study abroad goals. I would then encourage them to meet with academic advisors. So once they are a sophomore, they've declared their major, they should schedule an appointment with both their major and HSA advisors to create a roadmap for study abroad, to make sure that all requirements are going to be satisfied and fulfilled in the time that they're here at MUD. I would then encourage them to submit study abroad applications. It is a two-step process. You would apply to myself, to the Office of Study Abroad. You'd also be applying directly to the program provider's website. Our deadlines are typically one semester before they plan to go abroad, but I would encourage all students to map things out about a year in advance. So there's no scrambling at the end, so they can be more relaxed, and that way they can just make sure they have everything in order when they're applying. Sometimes they will need letters of recommendation from faculty. So it's great to start building relationships with faculty as soon as they can, so they can be prepared when they need those letters of recommendation. So there is a full cycle, and I'm here with students throughout the entire process. I will be meeting with freshmen for info sessions when they first start at Harvey Mudd. I will be holding a study abroad fair in the fall, and students can come meet with different program providers who will come to campus and have tables and have information about what their programs provide. So there'll be a lot of research and planning. Then there's the advising and application process, which I'm there to assist with. Getting the visa for certain countries can sometimes be quite complex. And that's why we use these program providers, because they are experts in the field and they can assist with any specific situations that might come up with applying for visas. I will be assisting with purchasing of flights because that's part of the homeschool tuition model. And we use a travel agency. So students can work directly with the travel agency to book their flight. They don't need to pay out of pocket for that. And then I will cover that through the homeschool model. I host a pre-departure meeting for the students where I go over everything before they go. They then have another pre-departure from the program provider and when they arrive in country so that they're well prepared for everything that might come up. And then I'm checking in with students while they're abroad. I'm actually going to be traveling abroad next week to visit with our Mudders who are in Hungary studying at AIT Budapest and BSM, Budapest semester in mathematics. And I'll be going to Madrid to meet with our students at IES Abroad in Madrid and CIEE Madrid. And then there's going to be return events when they come back. We host a welcome dinner. I'm sorry, a welcome back dinner when they come back, and I make sure to remind them, don't forget to put all this information on your resume because you put in all of this time, all this hard work, you had such a wonderful experience. Don't forget to capture that to make sure that future employers know that you were abroad and that you can bring all of these extra soft skills to the table. So in summary, I just want to remind everyone that all majors can study abroad and earn transferable credits. Plan to go junior year. That's really the best time to go because of core in the freshman year and sophomore year, and because of the senior requirements, clinic, etc., senior research. Junior year is really the best time for Mudders to go. So it's really important to plan ahead and be prepared to apply for that period. And financial aid travels with you. It's very important that this is accessible to everyone, which is why we have the homeschool tuition model, which is why I really want the message to be clear that financial aid will travel with you to support you while you're abroad. I encourage students to come find me. I'm right by the mailroom. You can come find me at the Platt Campus Center. And any questions you have, you can definitely reach out to studyabroad@hmc.edu. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Very helpful and insightful. I'm going to kick off our Q&A with a pre-submitted question about whether people ever step out of HMC and take a year off in order to study abroad. Is that something that's common or that you've witnessed?
Some students do that. If they do that, it would not be, we could not guarantee transferability, and it would not be on the homeschool tuition model, meaning it would be all out-of-pocket expenses, and then the student would need to use the transfer credit form on the registrar's website to speak directly with their advisors and see if credit can be transferred back. So there wouldn't be that same level of support from HMC to be able to support that because they wouldn't be going through the normal procedure of making sure that a grad check has been done to make sure that everything is on track.
Right. Do you still, in general, support them as an office while they're away if they're technically on leave from their college?
No, if they're on leave from the college, then they are on leave from the college. And I have worked with students who are on leave and then planning to come back and study abroad. But no, it would not be the same level of support
Right.
if they take a leave. And really, the whole point is they will be able to stay lockstep with their major
Right.
if they study abroad. They'll be able to take major courses, tech electives, HSAs, a full load while they're
Right.
abroad, so they can completely stay on track.
Right. So they shouldn't need to take a leave in order to have a study abroad experience.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Someone in the chat has asked this question. They say they noticed that some spring semester programs don't finish until mid-June or even late June. Has that ever been an issue for a student trying to line up internships for the
Yes.
summer between junior and senior year?
Yes, yes. Sometimes students will specifically choose a program because they finish earlier. Some of our programs do have those, especially I believe in Australia and New Zealand options. But there are plenty of other options that do not have that timeline. It really depends on where the student wants to go, what their goals are. I mean, if their goal is to study at the University of Sydney, because they have this really excellent biomedical engineering program, biomedical engineering course, then maybe it's worth it to them to be on that timeline. But if their goal is to come back and be able to participate in that internship, then maybe we can look at a different program. And there's plenty of other options with engineering courses, physics courses, for example, that we can look at.
Yeah. You also mentioned internships while you're studying abroad. So there is
Yes.
not a requirement to have an internship between junior and senior year by any means if you get it while you're studying abroad, right? So
Yes. Yes.
that could also be helpful.
Absolutely. Hmm.
I'm gonna jump to a question that I think might come up, which you did kind of answer through your photos, Sarah, about students who dual major or do one of the crossover majors, such as
Yes.
biomath CS or any of the other CS
Yes.
crossover majors.
Yes.
Does that make it any harder for them to study abroad? Does that change the process at all?
Right. Um, it might. It might possibly reduce the places where they can go. It depends on what their goals are. So, for example, a CS physics student, it might say, okay, well, then we should really look at these schools because they've got the most options for physics, CS transferability. So, yes, some majors will have a little bit more flexibility just by nature. Other majors, to stay on track, students will need to take two major courses while they're abroad,
Mhm.
and maybe two HSAs while they're abroad, humanities, social sciences, and arts courses. So it really depends. But there will be a place for everyone. I would ask that every student be a little bit open-minded and flexible in terms of location,
Yeah.
because we want to find the best academic fit for them. And we want them to think about what their goals are. If their goals are personal, if they're professional, if they're academic, it really depends. We can find a program for everyone, but I would ask all students to just have an open mind in terms of where to go, especially if they've got a joint major like that.
We have a submitted question asking, have any students ever gone to the DIS program in Copenhagen? Is it an approved program? Are there courses in that program which are approved?
Yes. So I've only been here for about a year. I am currently over the summer going to be working on updating our website with a new slate of approved programs. Yes, students have gone to DIS before, and it will be going through a process to become an approved program. And yes, DIS is a very popular program with the other Claremont colleges, and it's an excellent program. And they include study tours with their program. They include academic travel, and all of their courses are taught by professionals in the field. And they have a really excellent model for study abroad. So I will most likely be adding that over the summer to our website.
Perfect. I got a question kind of about it's an on-campus process, room draw. Maybe people have heard of it.
Mhm.
How do study abroad students work into the room draw system?
Great.
Either because they're only there half a semester or half a year,
Right.
And then if they miss room draw for the next year.
Great question. They stay on track with a proxy. So they use a stand-in, and I am updating them with emails. I'm reminding them, hey, check your email. This is happening back in California. And the registrar's office, the Office of Res Life is on emailing them as well. So students really do stay part of MUD while they're away, and they're able to participate in things virtually. They're able to participate in room draw, all those things. We're not going to exclude them from any of that because they're abroad.
And then the year that they're abroad, since they only need an on-campus room for half of that year, how do they do room draw leading into that year?
I would have to check with the Office of Res Life for that,
Yeah.
but so you mean if they go abroad in the spring for
No,
those?
like so if they are going abroad in their junior year,
Mhm.
they're when they're sophomores and they're at room draw, how do they arrange like no matter whether it's spring or fall, right? Because I guess
Mhm.
technically if it's in the spring, right? So they're living somewhere in the fall. Does
Mhm.
someone else come into their room in the spring? Is that how that works?
Yes. Sometimes else will come into their room. Yes, so prior arrangements are made for
Yeah.
every semester that someone's gone. Yeah.
And then
Uh,
like storage for their stuff, is that an
Stor-
issue?
Storage for their stuff. They would have to store their things. And typically what's happened in the past is students will um, group together and
Yeah.
pay for a storage unit together. Unfortunately, this came up. I wish the college had a place for that. Unfortunately, we
Okay.
don't because of liability reasons, but typically students will work together to find a place for storage for their things.
I think it's pretty similar to how what they do over the summer, right? Where Ashmit kind of arranges for the pod style storage that people go in on together
Right.
to share
Right. I think Ashmic is not, they're not able to arrange it for
for study abroad people
abroad
specifically.
specifically, but
Yeah.
I will make it a point to meet with them and talk
Yeah.
about it. Because it is something that's come up, and I'll see what I can do with that.
Great. There's one last question that I thought about in advance, and that is there any issues if you are an international student at Harvey Mudd College and you want to study abroad while you're
No,
here?
absolutely not. We have international students abroad right now, and we had international students go abroad in the fall. No, it's a fantastic opportunity to study abroad as an international student. You just have to, of course, get a visa, but for an
You're already
international
used to
student, they've already gotten a visa and they know how to do it. So
it.
they usually are the least shy about the visa process because they're experts at it already. We're also really fortunate in Claremont that we are so close to Los Angeles and we're able to get to the embassies and the consulates. Of course, it's a drive and you do have to Uber there.
Mhm.
And of course, there's the cost of Ubering there, but we are very fortunate that it's not a flight to get to an
Yeah.
embassy or consulate like a lot of other colleges and universities have to deal with. And a lot of our program providers also have a service where they will collect passports and go on your behalf to the embassy,
Oh,
depending on the
wow.
country that you're traveling to. But there is this service, like IES Abroad I think it's called Access, and they will take your passport and get the visa for you. That is a country by country situation, and unfortunately, there's been some recent developments with certain locations, so it really depends. But that's why we use program providers. They're so valuable because they do so much to ease they do a lot of lifting when it comes to the visa and advising. And we had a very specific, unique situation with a student going to New Zealand last semester, and they were very supportive and helpful with walking us through that process. So, unique things come up all the time, and that's why we use these program providers to help assist with those types of situations.
Great. Well, I don't see any other questions from our audience. I'm going to put the study abroad email in the chat just so everyone can copy that down. If you have any questions, please reach out to Sarah. She's very easy to work with. Thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you to our audience for your questions and for attending today's event. Our Family Focus events continue next week with two events. We've got one from the Office of Career Services and summer research combined, talking about summer stuff. And then we also have our session going over clinic. So hopefully our families will attend next week as well. All events are listed on our Family Focus website, which can easily be accessed from our parents' website, hmc.edu/parents. I hope to see you at future MUD events and throughout the spring. Have a great rest of your evening. Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.